Hey guys, Jared here, and today we're going to check out the GX1200 case from Antec. Inside the box we have the case itself, as well as a bunch of screws and cable ties for cable management. Alright, let's start with the outside of the case and work our way in. The case is 520mm high, 203mm in width, and 520mm in depth. On the front there's a black metal mesh material to allow air into the two included 120mm fans that sit behind it. There's some subtle Antec branding toward the bottom, and underneath this is some LED lighting. More on this later. On top we've got the same metal mesh material, as there's room for either two 120mm fans, or even a 240mm by 120mm by 30mm radiator for water cooling. The top also has the front panel, which features a microphone and a headphone jack, a button to change the lighting color, the power button, and two USB 3.0 Type A ports. All of these are connected to the motherboard with the already appropriately routed cables. On the back from the bottom up, we have a hole for the power supply, followed by 7 PCI slot covers, to the right of which is a vent for airflow. Moving upward, there's space for a motherboard I/O shield, and a 120mm fan mount next to this, which can also be used to mount a radiator sized 120mm by 155mm by 45mm. On the bottom of the case are the rubber feet, which actually keep the case fairly high off the ground. This will help airflow into the power supply, which is protected by a removable dust filter. The filter simply slides in and out, and is the only removable filter on the case. On the side with the window panel we have, well, the window, which is made of some kind of plastic. It appears to have a light tinting to it, as the interior appears darker with it on. On the other side there's nothing, just a blank black panel. Both panels can be removed by unscrewing the thumb screws and pulling them off, revealing the inside of the case. Inside, the first thing you'll probably notice is the large space for the motherboard, as there's no drive cages here. This allows for up to 410mm long graphics cards to be installed. I'll be building in this case with an ATX motherboard, however it also has support for micro ATX and mini ATX. There are holes for cable management around the top, side, and bottom of where the motherboard will go, which made keeping the build looking neat and tidy much easier. There are also two mounting points for 2.5-inch discs. Looking to the front from the inside, we can see the two included 120mm fans. In total, the front has three 120mm mount points, so a third fan can be added, or a radiator up to 360mm by 130mm by 40mm in size can be mounted instead. Also looking at the front from the inside, we can see a foam-like material behind the metal mesh on the outside, which I assume is for dust filtering. I'm interested to see how this holds up over time, as it's not removable, and will be extremely difficult to actually clean. Likewise, looking up through the top of the case from the inside, we can also see this same material there. Again, it's not removable. Toward the bottom we have a non-removable shroud over the power supply, and 3.5-inch drive bays, which are only accessible from the other side of the case. So let's move on to the other side. Down the bottom on the left, as mentioned, are the two removable 3.5-inch drive bays that can also be used to mount 2.5-inch discs. To the right of this is the area for the power supply. There's some hard padding at the back of the shroud and on the base where the power supply will actually sit, which will keep the power supply firmly mounted, and I assume would help reduce any vibration made from the fan. As the shroud is non-removable, it makes sense to mount your power supply fan down, in order to stand a chance at actually getting any fresh air. I really disliked the metal wall, almost directly in front of where the power supply is. As I was using a modular power supply in this case, this isn't enough room to plug additional cables in after the power supply has been mounted. Just above this area is a third 2.5-inch drive mount. On the same side, towards the top left, is the GX Magic Box, which handles the fans and lighting. This has 6 4-pin fan connectors, an LED light strip connector, a 3-speed fan control button, and the 7-color light switch. It sucks that the fan control button is only found here. If you want to adjust it, you need to take off the whole side panel. The light switch button is at least also found on the front panel of the case, as mentioned before, so we can use that instead to the same effect and cycle through the colors without needing to open the case. There are only 7 different color options available here, no custom RGB unfortunately. Simply click the button to rotate through them. Overall, I'd say this is a pretty good case for the price of $80 US. I didn't like the inability to plug in more cables to an already mounted power supply, but as long as you plug in all of your cables first and then mount it, you'll be fine. The only other thing that I didn't like was that the fan control button is only accessible within the case. As mentioned, I'm interested to see how the front and top foam-like dust filters go over time, as they don't appear to be removable for cleaning. Some things that I did like were the use of thumb screws, even on the PCI slots. The big space inside with no drive bays in the way was nice to build in, and the cable management holes and 20mm of space behind the back panel behind the motherboard made it easy to hide cables. I think the end result looks pretty nice with the complete build inside. So what did you guys think of the Antec GX1200 case? Be sure to let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and leave a like on the video if you found it useful. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for future tech videos like this one.